Hi everyone, my name's Danie May and this is
your husband, Rod.
And we're connecting today online with Heather and Louise to talk to them about their upcoming Pleiadian Activation training that's happening on the Gold Coast at the start of November. Rod and I are both excited about this, but we do have some questions and we know that our questions might be some that you are having too. So we thought we would record this, or get Louise to record this so that we can help answer questions for everyone. So hello, Heather and Louise.
Hello, Danie, May and Rod. It's really nice to be here and to be, connecting with you yet again. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Absolutely. I hear you've got some really curly Australian questions for us.
Well, I don't know if they're totally Aussie, but they're definitely probably questions that Aussies may have about you coming to Australia and bringing this form of energy healing to us. So I guess...
Sorry.
Well, first I want to say thank you for this opportunity, because we had some questions which you guys had answered earlier, but when you talk about your Pleiadian activation training, you talk about bringing through Pleiadians through channel. And so I guess the first question was one Rod had, the one about channel.
Because you channel the information through, I was wondering, do you need to be able to channel to do the healing? When you finish, do you need to channel?
Rod, not really. The reason I bring Pleiadians through to teach the activation is because he taught it to us. And he's got this way of connecting to the people when he is imparting the information that makes it, I suppose, really easy to absorb and see and understand what's going on. I mean, Heather and I can train without me channeling Pleiadians through, but I do because he enjoys to teach it.
And so it adds another aspect to the training for people.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah.
Yes.
It adds a greater overview aspect. It absolutely does. And of course, no, you don't have to be a channeler or know how to channel or want to learn how to channel to do this energy healing. Otherwise, it would be very limiting and very unfair. And in actual fact, that's not what we're trying to create.
No, it is an energy healing modality, which means criterially all you really need to know is the sensitivity and the awareness and the intuitiveness of working with energy.
I've just lost you a little bit there, Louise, then.
All right. I'll just repeat that basically what I was saying is that, the main criteria for somebody learning this to facilitate the Pleiadian activation, the continuation, is that they have the intuitiveness, they have the awareness of how to connect to energy, and they're sensitive enough to feel how the energy is moving around as they're working with it.
Okay, so just a basic understanding of energies, but they don't need to have any other modality training or anything like that, as long as they've got a basic understanding of what energy is about and how to feel it, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Just being sensitive or aware of energy, being able to trust your intuition. In some ways, it's possibly best that you haven't had any energy training, because you're not getting your head in the way with any other modalities or anything like that. You're just allowing yourself to be really receptive. And yeah, so being intuitive and being aware and sensitive to energy and trusting yourself and letting go of this, it's always a good one.
Yeah,
that helps.
Yes. and that can be a challenge in itself for some of us. And so one of your, I guess it's part of the training you're offering while you're here on the Gold Coast, but you've sort of set your training up to for everyone that's participating in the training to experience the healing itself first. Is there a reason for that? Because many other modalities, if you were learning them, would be just letting you experience them as you learn them, but you're setting it up for the experience to be encountered before you even step into the training.
Do you want to answer that, Heather?
Sure. Well, what we've been told or shown is that if people have their own private continuation Pleiadian activation early on with all their intents activated, and it's, you know, we're talking about allowing up to 45 minutes, an hour at the absolute most per person. They have their own private and personal time. They start to connect with the energy very, very quickly, and it gives them an overnight to absorb, or a week prior before, depending. In the case of Australia, on the Gold Coast, it'll be overnight beforehand, to absorb that and allow that to continue on, so that when they step into the workshop arena, they're already buzzing with that energy. So we've cleared that. So they've got that personal time already happened. They don't need to be doing it in front of people that they've never met before in their lives, to be honest, as well. And Platorans will do that with myself, and it's a very, very beautiful activation. It
is beautiful. But you see, so also some people would bring some points of reference that they want to deal with their intent, and it could be quite personal. So they don't want Tom, Dick and Harry sort of listening into what's going on during the main session. And also what Platorans have said is that because you go and you receive your own activation ahead of time, not only do you have that night or the time prior to the facilitation course to absorb it and whatnot, you begin to think of questions that when you are working with the facilitation, you know, what happened here, what was I feeling here, you know, sort of. So when you're in the course and these sort of things are covered, one, you've got a good understanding because you've experienced it, but also you can now ask questions based on your own experience.
You've got a reference that's already set in place, and then when you move in, so it's actually like stage 1 of 3 stages, stage 2 being the first day, and stage 3 being the second day. So yeah, I hope that helps.
Yes, it does. It makes perfect sense. And so you're calling it facilitator training. So what does the word facilitator mean in context of this energy activation training?
Oh, can I answer that? Sure. Yeah. Well, Platorans is very, very strong on the word facilitator. He doesn't really like the word healer. And when he first came through with us, I was a little bit like, well, what do you mean by that? Because, you know, obviously we're using a healing modality, you know, so we must be obviously healers and things like that. And apparently he tells a story, and he'll probably tell it to everybody that's present there, that he always calls himself a facilitator because he can do absolutely nothing unless he has the permission of the person that he's working with. And although he is called a master healer on the Pleiades and with the council that he's in, he doesn't like the label because he says it brings up connotations that really and truly take away from the individual's intent, takes away from the individual's empowerment of when they're working with healing. Because, and then he stops talking about the healer or the facilitator, and he starts talking about the receiver. And the receiver is the person that's come to you looking for assistance, looking for that added boost of energy, because they're not cracking it. They're somewhere in them, they're missing the mark somewhere, so they're looking for help. So in other words, as he says they're looking for a facilitator of energy to plug into them and allow the universe to flow through them into the receiver. And then he turns around and he said to me the one time, and he says, "You do know you're a hose pipe, don't you?" And I went, what do you mean? He says, well, all you are is plugging into the universe and then plugging into or holding your hand over the receiver, and you're just letting everything flow through you, just like a hose pipe carries water. And that really does makes perfect sense, because then it takes the pressure off me. I don't have to perform. I don't have to wave my hands and do a magic spell or really hope to God this really works. Okay. What it does is it's the receiver has come in with an intent, a purpose, a reason for connecting with me. I take that intent, I connect with that intent, I take that up in my energy, connect it with the universe, and then I take myself, I step out of the way, and I let the universe work through me using the steps and the skill set that Pleiadians has taught us, and how to work with as a facilitator of that energy flowing through, rather than just saying, oh, I'm going to heal you. Don't know if that makes sense. Yep.
Yep, no, it does.
Yeah, but sort of answered a question that I was going to ask in a way. I was actually going to ask, you don't need the person that's come to you for the healing doesn't actually need an intention of healing or what they need to heal. They can just come to you because they want a healing of some sort in themselves.
Yes and no.
Does that make sense? It's sort of, they don't have to say, I'm sore in the shoulders or here or there, I just need a healing. It just works automatically.
It can do, but it does help that a person is active in their own healing, and therefore they have their own healing intent. And the more powerful the healing intent and belief in the fact and knowing that you're actually a part of your own healing, probably the more powerful the healing, to be honest. Okay, but somebody could come and say, look, I really don't know, but I just feel I'd like something. And we do remind them that we're not the healers, that they have to be activating and fully present within their own healing. And we suggest maybe something for their highest growth and good, and et cetera, and a few other things that, you know, we will explain in the workshop as well. And they come on board and activate their own healing intent. So yeah, it can work both ways. But the most profound healings I have seen have involved a human being who has come and gone, this is what I really want. I know I'm a part of it, and I'm choosing you to help activate it with me. And they're very sure that it's going to happen, and it does happen.
Absolutely. Just to add on to that, there have been times where, you know, Rod, the scenario has appeared before us, as you've laid out, where they just come and they don't have a definitive, I'm sore, I'm achy, I'm this, I'm that. They just, as Heather says, they just know they need a healing. And they have that first session and they go away and they contact us maybe a week later or 2 weeks later, and they go, I know what I need. I have my intent, I need, and they come back. And this is probably, the second one is probably the more powerful one now, because now they're actively involved. Now they have a definite intent of why they're doing what they're doing. And sometimes in that scenario, we might even reignite their grid line, because now the intent is activated within that as well. So yeah.
Which is another good reason also to be involved in the 2 days of this, because you can actually, you know, with people being on and off the table and people being shown things, people go, oh, I get it now, and I also want da-da-da-da-da, and they start, and the room gets very
buzzy and very
high with energy, and people start having some incredible experiences of healing and activation, and yeah.
So girls, you just talked about activating grid lines. So can you explain that a little bit more for people, what that actually means? Because that's sort of talking on a much broader scale than healing just in the physical, isn't it?
Absolutely. So if you can imagine, I'm going to be very, very scientific here. That's your body. Okay, so if this is the body, all around the body are certain reference points, some in a spiral going down and coming back up. So we have a spiral energy force, because that's both the energy of humans and Gaia of where we sort of exist. In ourselves, we all know that we've got, or we've heard, if we don't know, we've heard that we have the chakra points. Okay, now Platorans have shown us that not only do we have those 7, the chakra points going down us, but there are other points in our physical body that need to be connected up, and also outside of our body. And these points are connected to grid lines. I'm going to put the pen down now. They're connected to certain reference points in our Akashic memory, in our auric field. They're all connected to this field of energy around us, but it patterns. It's like a grid pattern around us. So, for example, when I first saw my grid around me, it was, the closest description I can give is like I had a gyro that was spinning around this way, and then around the gyro spinning around this way, and then this way, and then this way, and all over like an atom were these lines of energy, and they were different colors, and at certain points there were these glowing orbs or spots. And when I asked what that was all about, he said those particular parts were the parts where we brought in from past lives, from future lives, from present time, of different sort of giftings and all the rest of it. And again, a lot of this goes into a lot of detail when we actually do the course.
Okay. So it sounds like your course is going into some deeper training than some of the more traditional energy modalities of when it comes to those sorts of energy and auric fields and things, compared to some of the more traditional ones, such as crystal healing and things like that.
Well, I've never done a crystal healing course, and I've never done Reiki. Actually, or have I? No, I haven't. But I do know that we do completely elaborate on the fabric of the energy body and its connection with the cosmic energy, which is, I guess, why we've got the whole starseed Pleiadian energy force with us around that. We're very much focused on that. And of course, what happens in the energy happens in the physical. So the human manifestation, or let's keep it very crude, the meat suit is just the physical outworking of our humanity. And even our emotions are, and our habits are. We actually work with the greater cosmic energy of ourselves and the grid lines in order to access alignment and balance within our humanity, which also, of course, enhances our greater multidimensional selves, of course. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you're basically working even in a much broader sense of the auric field.
Oh yes, well beyond that. The auric field is only one part of all that we are. We're going well beyond that. Yep.
Okay. Do you have another question, Ryan?
I do. Well, I've got a couple, but I'll do the first one. Can you do harm on someone doing this energy work? Can you disrupt their energy or cause physical problems if you do something wrong?
I've never seen that. If you're truly connecting as a hose pipe to the universal energy, and you're stepping out of the way and you're allowing yourself to be that conduit, I've never seen any harm whatsoever come.
And also, don't forget that when you are working with the individual, or as we term it, the receiver, they've come to you with a set intent, and all you're doing is taking that intent and allowing the universe to work through you to activate that intent. One of the main things about being a facilitator is you are not emotionally or mentally involved. Your involvement is to be a conduit of the energy. So, and look, there have been times where Heather and I have been working on somebody, and we've noticed something in their energy, something's come up. We haven't just automatically gone, oh, let's fix it. Because the receiver is conscious, they're not sleeping and gone off to la la land, they're there conscious on the table. We will say to them, we've noticed ABC. Would you like us to work with it? And we've had some people say, that's not part of my intent today. No. And we've got, okay. And we carry on.
Yep.
Other people have said, oh, I didn't pick that up. Yes, please. Again, it's, you know, we always check in.
And you can work with pregnant women. We've worked with special needs kids. The animals, doesn't really matter. With an animal, of course, you're actually connecting with the owner of the animal or the guardian of that animal grouping to access the energy healing. Animals respond like
boom, like that.
Such a bliss.
So basically you're saying there's no real known contraindications to this, using this healing modality on people?
No.
Absolutely not. No. Nobody's come back and said anything to us, and we've been using it for about a decade.
Okay. Very good. And you have another one?
No, you go first.
So just going back, sorry, to where I asked about what does the facilitator mean, the word facilitator, because a lot of people often see facilitator used as being a teaching modality where you're learning to become the teacher of the modality. That's not the case in this.
Okay. So you're becoming a facilitator of the Pleiadian activation, the continuation, meaning that you can facilitate it and help somebody else with their healing. So if you want to use the word healer, use it, but we prefer to use the word facilitating healer, or a healer of a facilitator of healing. So is that causing some consternation in Australia?
I'm not sure. I just know with some of the things that I've been involved with, that word has come up as what they use as someone that teaches the modality or the workshop.
No, you've got to do this part first, and then we have trained a few people, of course, to facilitate.
Yes.
Facilitate the facilitators. So that's the next step would be facilitating the facilitators.
You wouldn't want to say that fast over a couple of drinks. No. Well, I think most of my questions I had have been pretty much answered, ladies.
I have one more question for you both, and that is, why Australia? Why now? I believe you've been around different parts of the world doing this healing. So why Australia? Why now? Why
That's
not
a really good question, Rod. Besides the fact that I love Australia, and I've, regularly over the last 4 years, I've been there probably 4 times a year. But now seems to be the time that we need to be spreading our wings a little bit more, particularly with the Pleiadian activation. And part of that may be due to the Lemurian connection, the Australian Lemurian connection. So we're in New Zealand, we're in Aotearoa. Those of you that are familiar will know that it's got the newer Lemurian energy. Okay, New Zealand has, and Australia has a different but complementary energy. And we do happen to know that there are a lot of people on the Australian continent who are very connected to starseed and Lemurian energy. So we're coming to you with this because we know there's interest, we feel there's interest, and even with your Indigenous people, your Aboriginal people, we know that they're very connected to the Pleiades. They know about the peoples that came from the stars. They have such a deep connection and understanding of that. In many ways, our Maori have exactly a similar thing. Many of our Indigenous people have an understanding of that. And Maori seem to get what we do. But essentially, the time is now. We feel that the time is now.
It's like synchronicity is just the doors have opened. It's like there's been like, should we go? Should we before? You know, it's like, do we need to do this? Do we need to do that? And there was always the need, and that unsurety. And so whenever there's unsurety, we don't move forward with it because it's not clear. But all of a sudden, the energy lifted. It just felt lighter. It felt this was the good time to do it. And when we started to sort of make plans and think about it, other things started to roll on and sort of like come into play. And for us, it was like very much a thumbs up, a signal from the universe to say, go for it.
Does that answer?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
So that's just made me think of another question, because we didn't really touch on that, is the Pleiadian activation obviously is coming, as you said, you're channeling a Pleiadian healing master to who gave you the information on how to do the modality in the first place. Does your training, apart from teaching this modality, does your training involve any other teachings to do with star seeds?
Not really, in as much as set teachings to a particular thing. But I will say this, that I've not been at a facilitator's course yet where at the end of it, where Pleiadians doesn't actually connect to the people that are there, and he will leave them with an individual message relating to their placement of where they come. So he recognizes fellow Pleiadians, but he's also recognized those who have got the Andromedan seed or the Arcturian seed, and he connects to them at that higher level, and he leaves them with a message that they can take away with them ongoing as a point of reference, as an encouragement. So while there might not be teachings per se of the different star systems and different star seeds, he does explain that a lot of the other communities out there, or as he calls them, star species, he doesn't call them star seeds, he calls them star species, they come to him or call him or his team out to wherever they are to actually utilize and work with this facilitation for them out there as well. So it's not just pertaining here to planet Earth. It is a star healing. Do you know what I mean? It's a star species healing. Can we just sort of say that?
Would it be fair to say that the Pleiadian groupings are very much have a lot of the healing, energetic understanding, scientifically speaking? And they are called out to a lot of the other cosmic as well. And also remembering, just briefly with history, of course, when New Zealand, when human were seeded, their DNA was seeded, and there was some interaction there. It was called upon by Gaia and the ascended beings. How can we assist humans to move ahead in their spiritual growth? And the Pleiadians were one of the first groups that had their hand up. The Arcturians were there as well, of course, Andromedans. We have the Greys, we have the Zeta, we have all sorts of different groupings came on and helped see. But Pleiadian did a lot of that. So that's why they have a very great understanding. They did this with permission. This is part of our history. They have such a great understanding of the humanoid, the earthly humanoid mechanism. Does that help?
It does, and I think that's a lovely side note to take into signing up for the training, is that you're obviously going to walk away with almost this individualized message that will probably open you up to so many possibilities, because you've connected into those starseed origins on a greater level through the training.
Absolutely.
That's a good point, Danie. And I know when I had my Pleiadian activation, it was absolutely profound. I was totally unexpecting how I felt, but all of a sudden, it woke me up to my cosmic origins graphically, very, very quickly, very, very deeply. And people will experience that if they allow themselves to allow. And Pleiadians will communicate. He will, as Lou has said, give everybody a special communication, something that they can take with them that's very, very personal.
Beautiful. That's this whole question and answer today has made me even more excited to be joining you when you come over to us here in Australia now. Do you have any more questions, Rob?
Not at the moment, not that I can think of. I'm bound to be thinking of more later, but at the moment I don't.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that this is sort of at least some questions that others may have here in Australia, or anyone really looking at doing this training with you, because it's certainly very different to anything I've seen being offered from that level of cosmic connection.
Yeah, we've not seen anything quite like it. But then again, we don't go and sit on everybody else's,
No.
We focus, it's all encompassing. And one of the reasons it's called the continuation is too, because it continues on. You can continue to access it. And we can talk more about that in the workshop, but I'm getting more excited too as we're
Absolutely. All of a sudden I'm getting a bit hot, and I can feel the energy sort of amping up, and it's just like, let's,
It's going to be great fun. What I would say for anybody that's watching the video, we're going to put some links there for you to tap in and to get some more info, and there's another interview there too, and then press the go button if you want to join us on November the 3rd or the 4th. If you do have questions, if anybody's watching this, please put them up in their comments here, and we will answer them.
Yeah.
We will answer your questions if there's anything else you want to know. Okay?
Absolutely, because, if you don't ask the questions, then we don't know how to answer you, and you're never going to get them answered.
Yeah, but needless to say, you're going to have a wonderful 2 days of loaded high energy experience with your own Pleiadian activation as well, and you're going to walk away knowing how to work with somebody else, how to facilitate healing for somebody else and your friends and family as well. And a cool certificate, apparently. Safita's made a nice certificate. That was nice of him. We've already had one, but he decided to revamp it.
Oh. It's always nice to have a nice certificate at the end of doing something.
It is,
yeah.
And not only that, it's not just about the certificate, of course. Anyone can make a certificate. There will be ongoing support. We always make sure that we're here to assist people when they've got further questions.
Absolutely. And
ongoing. We're not going anywhere. We're here for the big time.
And sorry, girls, this has just made me think of one other question.
Sorry, we've got to go now.
You're talking about your being there for support. Have you found that when people have undergone this activation training, that they've got all of a sudden opened the door for new guides to come in, or do they connect in any way if they're that way inclined to be channeling or connecting with people that they channel, or connect with Pleiadians or other guides that assist them as they progress forward?
Absolutely, all of that. We've seen people connecting with Pleiadians. We've seen people connecting with their cosmic guides. We've seen people opening up to more of their higher energy intuitive. Anything can happen, and has happened, does happen, and we love it.
Absolutely. In fact, Pleiadians, again, at each and every facilitation course that we've done, he says to people there, if in doubt, call upon me and I and my team will be available. He brings a team of about 12 other beings into the room. He doesn't name them, but he says, can you feel them? And everybody goes, oh, yeah, and they're always there to assist. And he might even talk about one of his favorite students called the Reisi, who is that he teaches, and who also teaches the Pleiadian activations, etc. So there's always assistance energetically that you can connect into, and on a physical level here on the human level, Heather and I are just a phone call away, a Skype call away, and we will sort of maintain contact, etc. And who knows, we'll probably even do a refresher course, in a year's time or something like that, just to make sure that everybody
facilitate the facilitators course.
Facilitate the facilitators course, yes. Or maybe 6 months we'll do a refresher course. whatever. But you know, whatever happens, we're here to be that assistance and to be that help for those who've done the course.
That's good to know as well. That's good.
Excellent.
Excellent. Yep.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much. I mean, yeah, for asking those questions. I was a bit nervous because I wasn't sure what you're going to ask us, but no, that's great. As long as it can help people, that's the main thing. So thank you very much.
No, thank you for the time and making yourself available to answer our questions today.
No, thank you very much, Danie. Thank you, Rob. Been a pleasure.
We're looking forward to seeing you real soon.
Yeah.
We are too excited.
Alrighty. Love you lots. Thank you so much.